Extrema Ratio has sent me another knife for review. This is the Requiem. I'm going to take a look at it. And they are available in several different colors. This is the desert version. There's also one in all black, a few other colors as well. So first off, a few words about Extrema Ratio. The knives are made in Italy, and the company has been developing knives for the Italian armed forces for a long time, and they're also used by law enforcement and military in other parts of the world. So this is the real deal, if you will, as opposed to a lot of the tactical stuff on the market that's just designed to look cool and intended for collectors. These knives are actually meant for use. It's made of Austrian N690 stainless steel, which is a hard wear-resistant steel. Takes a good sharp edge and retains it well. The hardness is 58 HRC, and you can see it's got a stone washed finish. The handle is Forprene, which is a thermoplastic elastomer, or TPV. So that's a composite of plastic and rubber, and you can really feel that. It's got a bit of the softness of the rubber, but it's definitely harder than even hard rubber. And so it's really a nice combination. You've got a bit of the traction of the rubber as well. So just a little softer than high impact plastic, but still pretty solid. And I like that material. It's really nice. It feels good in the hand, and it's easy to hold on to, even if it gets a little wet. Not a problem. Also, the shape here, something that I've come to appreciate. At first, when I saw it in the pictures, I wasn't really a fan of it. It looked kind of weird, but I've tested a few other knives from Extrema Ratio that also have this kind of shape, and I really like it now. On this particular knife, it also lends itself to a thumb grip, so you can actually push the thumb in against that part, which makes it quite secure in the hand. You can thrust that way. Not sure if that's commonly done, but it seems pretty effective in this case. And on the other side, you can see the tang is exposed here. So I'm assuming that's intended as a glass breaker or striking tool. So if you had to, you could strike with that against the skull as well. There's some very aggressive jimping here on the back and also under the guard. It's a bit much, in my opinion. For gloves, not a problem at all. I'm assuming that's probably designed with gloves in mind, so there wouldn't be a problem then. Otherwise, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But again, it depends very much on how you hold it. If you choke down a little more or hold it like this, don't even notice it. And of course, ice pick grip as well is not an issue. The blade has got a fuller. It's not a blood groove. It's just generally done to reduce some of the weight while retaining most of the structural integrity. In this case, I'm not sure it makes much of a difference because it's really not that much material removed. It may actually be a potential drawback, in my opinion, because the groove leads into the handle, basically. So liquid can run down the blade, be it water or blood, and actually run into the handle. Now, in case of a stainless steel blade, arguably it doesn't really matter because it's not going to rust easily anyway. And also there is a screw, so you can actually remove this for maintenance. So in this case, it's not really a problem. Just something to point out. I very much like how the cross section of the blade is shaped. It's always a little difficult to show on camera, but I hope you can see that. You've got the fuller most of the way, and then you've got the central ridge here. So that makes it nice and strong and rigid. Overall, the blade is very rigid, which of course is exactly what you want for a blade that is really mainly for thrusting. Generally, Extrema Ratio blades come shaving sharp. This one, on the other hand, not so much. It doesn't even cut the phone book paper very well. So I'm not sure why that is. All the other Extrema Ratio blades I've had were very sharp. This one here is somewhat on the dull side. Now, again, arguably for this design, doesn't really matter that much because as that this is really just for stabbing. It's not really a cutting blade. However, I do generally think that any knife that's designed with combat in mind should be very, very sharp. It should actually be shaving sharp, because if you do have to cut for whatever reason, then this needs to be very sharp to get through clothing, especially sturdy clothing, you know, for military purposes. That's pretty tough stuff. So I would prefer if this was actually shaving sharp, but you know, again, arguably the point is what really matters here, the edge, not so much. Here's the sheath. It's a design I quite like. So you have to push down that lever to remove the blade. It locks in otherwise. And it's got these slots cut out there, and also the bottom is open. So any water or other liquid can just drain, and this can dry very quickly. The only thing that could be a little better, in my opinion, is the fit, because you can tell there's a bit of a rattle. So this could certainly be improved, but otherwise it's a very efficient sheath, you know, nice and sturdily built. Also, these clips here allow you to attach it in a variety of ways. It's designed with MOLLE attachment in mind, so you could attach that on a vest. I suppose the locking lever is a bit of a double-edged sword for tactical application, because on the one hand it means that an attacker can't just grab it and wrench it out and use it against a soldier, but it also means that it's not as easy as just in a stressful situation when you're suddenly being attacked, just grab it and pull it out. You have to worry about that lever as an additional step. Now, if you practice, that's probably not a problem, because basically instead of pulling it straight up, you'd have to pull it more sideways. So if it's tipped down in this case, then you can get at it with the palm, push the palm against the lever, and then pull it out this way. If it's point up, it's a little easier because the thumb rests there anyway, so you can just grab it and pull it out that way. Now, personally, I found that the ice pick grip is more effective in the tests that I've done, but you know, it's, you know, however the individual is trained and whatever preferences they have, of course, dictates how they want to use it. As far as handling and performance are concerned, I really like how this handle is shaped. I found it a little odd how narrow it is. It's really kind of a small handle, so if you've got very large hands, this may feel strange in the hand. Personally, I think it's better if the handle is a little smaller than if it is too large, because if it's very large and your hands can't fully close around it, your grip isn't as strong. Whereas if all your fingers wrap around it completely, you've got a very solid grip on it. So I think that's actually a good thing. And as I said, this Forprene material is really good in the hand, secure and comfortable. And, well, the blade performs nicely. This synthetic ballistic gel is actually pretty hard to pierce because it's kind of bouncy and it's very tough. I felt that in areas on the dummy where there is just gel without the rib analogs, it's actually easier to do a slow push into the gel as opposed to the concussive stab, I suppose. Whereas if you're dealing with a firmer part of the torso, it's easier to get the blade in all the way with a quick stab. And I guess this is also where I need to point out that this is not supposed to glorify violence in any way. This video is just for entertainment purposes and for information as a product review. I do not condone violence in any way. Since I'm not in law enforcement or military and cannot legally carry a knife for self-defense in Canada, this is really just something to have fun with, basically, and enjoy as a collector's item. But if you are looking for something for actual use in self-defense, if you live somewhere where you can do that legally, then I do think this is quite a good option, because it's definitely an effective blade for the purpose. It's pretty wide, but comes down to a good spear point. This is a very strong point, by the way, so you definitely don't have to worry about bending or otherwise damaging it. And because it is such a rigid blade, it penetrates very well. Okay, so finally a word about the price. In previous reviews of Extrema Ratio knives, some people were shocked by the price, but there's a lot that goes into this. For one, they are all produced in Italy, so they don't outsource to Asia or India or whatever to keep the costs down. That is a factor, of course. And also, despite the use of machinery, there is actually a lot of manual labor involved. They do plenty of things by hand. They manually inspect the blades, they hand sharpen them and hand finish them, and also it's really good quality control overall. Each of these comes with a quality control card so that you know that somebody actually looked at this before shipping it out, whereas in case of a lot of cheap knives, they're just being cranked out and shipped out without much quality control. By the way, in addition to specs and other information, I'm also going to post links to videos down below that somebody else did of a factory tour at Extrema Ratio, so you can get a better idea of how they do things. And I've also been told that they're currently working on adjusting the production to decrease the prices by 30% in the future while maintaining the same quality. So overall, a really nice knife. Effective design, quality materials. I very much like it. There are only a few nitpicks. Well, arguably the edge is a bit more than a nitpick, depending on how you look at it. As said, the point is what you really need for this design. But I do wish it was sharper. It should be the same shaving sharpness as other Extrema Ratio blades, in my opinion. Whether you see the locking lever as a pro or a con is debatable, but the fit could definitely be improved. But otherwise, no complaints on my end. So, as I said, links will be down below in the video description. Check it out if you're interested. And thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful. Have a good one.